Good day, everybody. It's 29th of August, 2025. It is Friday, and it's like 3:35 in the afternoon, and I am in Zdanovici. This is kind of a, well, it's a renock. I don't know how you describe these in English. It's in a way, kind of a flea market, but these people are regulars. They pay a toll for these booths and things like that, and there are like different businesses. Like inside of here, I believe that's it's like a clothing place, and of course there's a whole bunch of clothing places over here too. There's everything you can imagine. Here you got some pots and pans. They got building supplies all over, and this is normally pretty big. And well, I'll go walking around over here in this area. Look, here's some sunglasses for you. I don't know, purple? Most of them are purple. I don't know. Yellow, purple. Here's some sun hats. There's a girl for you. I don't know if she's for sale. Let's see. Anyway, I was going to mostly talk some news anyhow, but most of this has a lot to do with Moldova. Moldova has been in the news quite a bit lately, and it's not featuring namely because some of the latest news is that they're going to send a big fighting force. You know, it's not that big of a country, so they're going to send 700 mercenaries, not like observers or peacekeepers, 700 mercenaries to Ukraine, I guess. So she just announced that, I guess, 1 day ago. Maya Sandu, the president of Moldova. Oh, look, is this real leather? Possibly. Let's see. Let me get close and see if I can tell. I don't know. Yeah, that one of them was for sure. Okay. Oh, look. So, yeah, mercenaries, 700 mercenaries. That's if she wins these. That's the parliamentary elections in September, on the 28th of September. She just won her election. I think it was like about a month ago. Well, won the election, and it's now been disclosed. I guess it was just even a few days ago. I'll get to that about Samantha Powers, but they cheated on the elections big time. Everybody knew they were cheating. They really cheated on the elections. Like I already mentioned in one video at that time, is for example, they had I think, what do you call it, for expats, they had voting stations. And you know how big Russia is. Russia is the largest country in the world. And I think they had over 700 places you can vote in the European Union. And the majority, I think it's even the majority of Moldovans or expats live in Russia, and they had two voting stations. So in other words, trying to make sure that those people can't vote, and to get those in Europe so that they will all vote for the pro-EU candidate, which was Mia Sandu. Wow, surprise. This is a store I kind of want to go into. You know, I don't really necessarily like camouflage, but maybe I like some of the natural colors of military things. These pants look kind of weird. I guess, look at this, you can take a dump. Look at that. You don't have to take your pants down, apparently. Got buttons there. Anyway. Okay. And I guess that intelligence, unfortunately, it's windy. Everything's blowing around here, my hair especially. Oh, my hair, it's a bad hair day. So this jives with some of the recent Russian intelligence that the EU and NATO is actively preparing to involve Moldova in armed conflict with Russia. I guess somewhere as a light version of Ukraine, preparing, but who knows if that's really going to happen. Here's a bunch of pet supply things. Here's kitty litter, lots of kitty litter. Here a cat can pee and poop its heart out. Here's the places they can do it in. And cat carriers scratching things. I'll tell you what, I'm going to look at maybe one of these because I built mine, and I made it wider. It's kind of a wide one right there, but I have a place where the cats can sit up on top. We got 4 cats. I wonder what this one here cost. One kitty can lay on the top, but I like this. It's because it's thicker. That can't be 40 rubles. Wow. I'll tell you what, when you buy that rope, that's going to cost 40. Здравствуйте. Сколько это стоит?
40.
40, неплохо. Сколько? Это?
50.
50. Неплохо. And look at also some scratchy things for cats. Tell you what, 4 cats, they wreak havoc on a lot of your stuff. You gotta cut their claws all the time. They grow back right away and they can still, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. It's not news for you guys. So, remember last winter when Russia, remember last winter when Russia had to bend and make a deal with Moldova to resume energy transports, or like what from a pipeline from, I guess it was in Moldova into Transnistria, because they cut it off, and it was in the winter time, of course, and the people, they were freezing. And so Russia made some sort of a deal. I don't even know what it was. I can't remember, but it'd be best to remember they had to make some kind of a deal in order for Moldova to continue the energy supplies. And Transnistria, that's kind of a, I don't know if you call it a breakaway republic. They're sympathetic towards Russia, and I guess they're listed as a part of Moldova, and it's I don't think that Moldova has jurisdiction over them. They are more proudly Russian, just like that Gagazia, I guess is how you say it. But anyway, there's Russian soldiers in that area, believe it or not. I don't like people looking at me all the time, going around like this. What the heck is this? I don't think I've ever been here. I don't come here that often, to be honest with you. Hatland, look at that. Hey, I tell you what, I don't want Calvin Klein on my hats, or New York, or crap like that, or Nike. If I can find a regular hat, the right color I like, and all that, that'd be great. But you have to have New York and Nike and Calvin Klein and crap on it, unfortunately. They should pay me to wear that. Oh, I guess I'm into the building supply stuff already. Maybe it starts here. Anyway, let's keep going through here. Okay. So, but Moldova, I guess that's called, I don't know, more efficiently, or what is it called? What it's supposed to be called is Pridnestrovia, and not Transnistria. Hey, some snazzy stuff here, people. I wonder why they had building supplies in there, because there's an area on the other side here with a lot of building supplies things. Getting a lot of attention, people looking at me here. A lot of attention. I'm a celebrity today. Okay. So let's see. If you don't know where Transnistria is, it has no border with Russia. It is actually between Moldova and Ukraine, believe it or not. And like I said, they have Russian soldiers there that basically they just guard the ammunition. Old Soviet ammunition. Everybody's looking at me. This is sickening. I should just be waving to everybody. So, that is, anyway, as you all can think, it's an accident waiting to happen. It will happen at some point in time. Because, they got the Hate Russia Club. I think they kind of dub it the Coalition of the Willing or something. Hey, look at, is that something with nothing on it? No. It's got to say Nike and all the crap on there. Gosh. As if everybody wants to advertise for Nike and New York and... Jeez. Anyhow, let's see. Okay. So, all old Soviet ammunition warehouses there. And, of course, Moldova wants to take control of that. I mean, surprise, surprise. And in case you don't know it, it's very weird because I thought I had heard that Moldova wants to be a part of Romania, but I'm hearing lately Romania just wants Moldova to be a part of Romania. So I don't know. Maybe it's both ways. Who knows? And it's not as if the European Union doesn't know that. So it's probably at some point in time going to happen, I guess, for Romania and for Moldova. Actually, it's a better thing. But I don't know. Stalin, I guess, created that whole big mess in the olden days. So, what else? I don't know. You guys will have to, if you want to know more, if I want to know more, I'd have to look that up a little bit more and see if I can find out what is the relationship between Moldova and Romania. Then you got to find out, well, what is the relationship between Moldova and Transnistria? And then you have to know what is the relationship between Moldova and Gagauzia. And Gagauzia, it's a strange thing. They're Turkic type of people, but they're not Muslims. They are Orthodox Christians, and they align themselves more with Russia, partly for that reason. So, but they are, how do you say this, autonomous. They applied for autonomy in 1989. They kind of got autonomy in 1990, kind of, and it was officially agreed upon in 1995 that it is an autonomous region, and Moldova's trying to get it back again. It's sort of like there was an agreement, as you all know, between Finland and Russia, where the neutrality of Finland, you know, was a was a condition on their becoming a sovereign nation. And of course now they just throw that out the window and decided they want to be the enemies of Russia. They should really wonder, well, why would you? Anyway, that's another subject. Why would anybody, they had this beautiful neutrality. They could do anything, trade and do everything freely with Russia, everything freely, and whatever they wanted to do with the European Union. But no, they said, well, we want to have an enemy. We need to have an enemy. We need to feel threatened. We want to feel threatened. Like, what could otherwise everybody just left them alone. It makes you wonder. I don't know. Figure that one out, will you? Somebody got bribed or threatened or both. I don't know. Okay. So what else now? Okay, keep going, Dookie boy. It's a lot about Moldova, and okay, I talked to you about that already. So the Hate Russia Club, Coalition of the Willing. I guess there are already a big contingent. So here's some of the building supplies. As a matter of fact, I did not know that they had things like for plumbing. I mean, like the whatever that stuff is, some lumber and tiles and stuff. I thought it was just small things like door handles and faucets and stuff. But anyway, they have a huge contingent of Moldovans already in Ukraine of 15. The big number of 15 that they know of. Wow. Huh. And there are thousands of Poles. When it's the strange thing is, Moldova wants to send troops to Ukraine, and they only have 15 there. The Poles don't want to send, and they've got thousands there. Doesn't really make any sense. It sort of sounds like kind of like a logic of Donald Trump. I want to stop the killing. That's why I'm sending all sorts of long-range missiles to Ukraine, because I want to stop the killing. And I want to stop the killing in Gaza. So that's why I'm flooding Israel with bombs. When they start wars with everybody, against the civilian populations of everybody. None of those people have a big military there. Hezbollah is pretty much gone. Oh, of course, except for Iran. and they're gearing up for that apparently too. So we'll see. I don't know if I didn't really prepare anything to mention that, but a lot of people like Douglas McGregor and all that, they're all fearing that Israel's going to want to go for something like that. But I kind of think they got a bad taste in their mouth. They didn't do very well, and apparently Iran is saying that they only used, I don't know, 5 or less than 10% of their potential at that point in time, and Israel was getting to the point where they wanted to beg for a ceasefire, and I'm afraid that maybe they're going to use something a lot bigger. And and a lot of people say the ambassador, I guess the American ambassador don't know his name, towards Israel, and he's basically saying that Israel can do anything it wants, to ever it wants, whenever it wants, and however it wants. It sounds like a nuclear bomb to me. So I don't know. What about the fallout? Who's going to, is it going to affect maybe Turkey? So that doesn't matter. They don't like Turkey anyway. Wow, 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 wow. Look at this kitchen stuff here. Trying to find out what they... chairs and restaurant, cafe stuff. Anyway, nothing you're interested in. Okay, let's see. So I already mentioned that part about Romania. That was some of the latest. It just came in today, a lot of that. And apparently they had some sort of a, what was it, some little celebration in Moldova. And people were thinking that Moldova did not invite representatives from Romania, but I guess it turned out that Romania was invited, they just didn't go. So we'll see. They had a letter ready and everything. I don't know. You never know. Okay. What's more about that? Okay, listen to this one. This is very good. This is very good about Moldova. The pranksters, the Russian pranksters, Vovan and Lexus, they called Samantha Powers. As a matter of fact, it was a video call. I don't know who they were pretending to be this time, but they're always pretending to be somebody. It's not like pretending to be Poroshenko or somebody like they did before. And the people didn't recognize their voice, so they'd act like they were some big shot. Maybe they just said some kind of a representative of something or other. Anyway, they're talking with Samantha Powers, who is the ex-head of the U.S. aid program. U.S. aid. And she told them, because of who they said they were, she thought it was kind of confidential, and she's not even in charge anymore of the U.S. aid program. So she said, what do I have to lose? I can't lose my job. I'm not even doing it anymore. So anyway, she said Washington sent tens of millions of dollars, more at that time, than went to Ukraine. And she admitted that they finagled the elections. She admitted they interfered in the elections of Moldova in order to get a pro-EU candidate. She admitted that. She admitted that right on video. Isn't that amazing? So they have this, wait, but Russia's supposed to interfere. We don't have any information. We don't have any proof or evidence or nothing like that of Russia interfering in elections, but they do it. And we don't do it, even though we admit to it, and there's lots of evidence that proves that we do it. Oh, but we don't do it. How can you go with something like that? Okay. Mass interference in Moldova's elections. It's just the same thing as in the Republic of Georgia or wherever, or Serbia. Massive election interference, the United States and the EU. And Donald Trump, he's acting like, the EU is there to trip up the United States, but I don't think he's got the memo. They all work together. I think he doesn't realize that the EU is there for the behest of the United States, to do the bidding of the United States. Even when he asks them to do stuff, they get over there and it's just like Vladimir Putin said, they'll be standing in front of him wagging their tails whenever he demands, and whenever any president demands. So it makes you really wonder, why is he punching the EU? There's all kinds of theories. I don't know. That's very strange stuff. Maybe Donald Trump is kind of an outsider still. He's an insider and outsider, I guess. I don't know. You figure it out. Okay. And let's see. Hundreds of millions. And also in Belarus, of course, I should have mentioned that. You know, they put many, many millions. I don't even know how much they put in to try to overthrow the, you know, I mean, and even, what's her name, Victoria Nuland, she admitted that. There's videos of her admitting it, that they put money into it. She admitted that they put in, what was it, $5 billion to overthrow the government of Ukraine. I mean, this is incredible stuff. She said that, you know. And George Soros even right there. And it's like, oh, you're imagining things, Dookie boy. Yeah. So, let's see. Powers is worried, Samantha Powers, even though I guess she can't let go. She's worried. She says that that Trump will stop sending the money. Maybe he has already. Maybe he's not. I mean, a lot of things about Trump doesn't make any sense. It's like you said, he's going to stop sending bombs, and the first bombs are arriving in a couple weeks, you know, of these, these thousands that Donald Trump has said he's going to be sending. He even said it in video. He's going to stop, you know, all this stuff, but he's doing that stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyway, Powers is hoping that Ursula von der Leyen will continue her nastiness in sending more of European Union taxpayers' money to Moldova. I mean, to all of these people. Anything that's against Russia. Like I said, it's the Hate Russia Club. Anything that is going against Russia, she'll send the money to. Macron as well. Matter of fact, all of them. Doesn't matter. That's what you do when you're in the Hate Russia Club. It's incredible. So, the U.S., let's shift gears and go somewhere else here. The U.S. had another mass shooting, as if it's not something that happens every... I mean, I think there was a couple of them even after this mass shooting in Minnesota. But let's talk about the one from Minnesota anyway, because everybody was sitting there crying about it and all that. I think 2 children, they killed 2 kids. I think one is an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, you know. All they're medicating people, and a lot of people are saying that. I think it was even J.D. Vance, the most heavily medicated country on planet Earth is the USA. And most of these people are on some sort of depressants and some sort of medication that do all these weird things, most of them. Wow. So, but, you know, it's weird that, you know, I mean, you have to be sad. These are young kids. But, you know, you have to put this in perspective. What about all these kids that die every single day? And it's not done by some madman that took some drugs or whatever. It's done by the government of Israel. And they do it every single day. And they kill more. They kill more than 2 every single day. How many do they maim? How many losing their legs? Their parents? Every single day. And the numbers are very, very high. It's 10 times more. I mean, and it's every day. And that was just one day. That was just one day what happened in Minnesota. Man. Yeah. So I guess we've become more numb because it's just a usual everyday thing now in Israel, and maybe Israel wanted it that way to make it like, hey, this is just everyday stuff. We just kill people all the time. It's not a big deal. Yeah. Yes, sometimes it's even like, I don't know, 70 people sometimes they kill. Some days, I think just a few days ago. I don't know how many people they killed in the last day. A lot of people starving in the last days anyway. I'll get to that too. That's a little bit after this. Trump's senior advisor, Peter Navarro, was on some kind of a talk show thing. He's coming out and saying that Russia-Ukraine war is Modi's war. This is some really crazy stuff. Yeah, that it's Modi's war. So it's instead of being called the special military operation or the war between Russia and Ukraine, it's Modi's war. He calls it Modi's war. I mean, trying to give Modi a guilt trip. I wonder if it's going to work. I doubt it. Modi's war. And it's a Trump tactic, obviously, trying to shame him, trying to shame India, and trying to shame Modi, you know, as if they're warmongers and they want to kill a bunch of Ukrainians or something like that. And it's really weird. It's because Modi or India is buying oil from Russia, so that makes them evil. That makes them complicit. Well, what about the EU? The EU, they buy more oil. I think they buy 10 times more oil, or maybe even 30 times more oil from Russia than India does. So, do we call it the EU war? The EU's war. And it is the EU war anyway. But but they're fueling Russia. I guess that was why Ukraine bombed the pipeline. They had a guy, and I guess he was Hungarian, and I guess they worked him up. I think he was Hungarian. Yeah, yeah. And the Ukrainians and who else? And the European Union people, they look at this guy as some kind of a hero. The Polish people look at this guy as a hero because he bombed the pipeline that sends oil to Europe. To Europe, the cheap oil to Europe. It goes to Slovakia, it goes to Hungary, and I believe it goes to other countries. Probably, I don't know, Croatia. I don't know. That's probably the Turk stream. It's like diversifying right now. The Turkish are getting, on through the Turk stream. The Ukrainians want to bomb that too. And I guess every single day, the Ukrainians make attacks on the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. I didn't know that, but it's every single day and multiple attacks, sometimes 10 a day. Wow. But what about the United States? That's another thing. Maybe it's called the U.S.'s war because the U.S. buys uranium from Russia. So maybe it's the U.S. that's fueling this war. So I guess, but only Modi is a bad guy. So when it's the U.S. doing something, you go, don't pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. You know the deal. That's how that works out. Okay, speaking more about India here. Most political and economic analysts are saying Trump's 50% tariffs, of course, I think they just went into effect for the most part yesterday. The 50% part on his 50% tariffs on India have backfired. And boy, have they backfired. Everybody's saying that they've backfired. And when you start hearing out why and how, you say, hey, it sounds like they really did backfire. Wow, So let's say, how did they backfire? Donald Trump, I think one of his mistakes that he made was he declared war on the BRICS just before, it was like a week before he put these sanctions on India. It was right around the time when he's putting the sanctions on Brazil. So it's like, it hasn't, it's obvious it has nothing to do with the war, nothing whatsoever to do with the war, even though Donald Trump is using that as an excuse. And of course, if he were successful afterwards, he would be bragging, haha, I crushed the BRICS. So he's going, I wonder, he had this Ramaphosa from South Africa. The BRICS are Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Anyway, this guy was there, and I don't know if he fears South Africa at all. I don't know what that meeting was between the two. It wasn't very nice of Donald Trump, whatever he did. I don't even remember what it was. But anyhow, I don't think he fears that because it seems like he's not really going after South Africa. I don't know what South Africa has to offer that, more than any of these other countries. Brazil is the #1 producer of coffee in the world, and the United States is, I think, second or third biggest drinker of coffee in the world. And Brazil has most of the coffee in the world. That's probably, I think it's over 50% of the coffee in the world comes from Brazil. I think the biggest producer. They're actually some of the biggest drinkers of coffee too. And of course, I am familiar with Cerrado Brazil coffee. And it is for the price. I don't know what they charge for Brazilian coffee in the United States, but if you price for quality, Brazil is probably the best coffee on the planet, on planet Earth, when you consider quality and price. So it's very high quality. Like when you get bags of coffee, a lot of times, sometimes you'll find stones in there and sticks in there. Sometimes it's inconsistent and all, but Cerrado Brazil, for example, I think the biggest producers of coffee on earth and the highest sold, even in America, very, very, very good quality, and they have a really good system down there. So anyway, I guess there's 700 items that are exempt from sanctions. Oh, I bet you one of them is coffee, because the United States wants that coffee. But anyway, Lula is not very happy. And of course, Modi is not very happy. It was some kind of a rumor from some German tabloid or whatever that said Trump called Modi 4 times and Modi never answered, never talked to Trump, in these past week or so. I don't know if that's true. But anyhow, what this has done, and China knows that they're next on the block, on the chopping block, by the way. And so they said 100% 100% full support to India. And you know they had some disputes. There's kind of a competition, and there's some border disputes and things like that between China and India. However, China said, we're behind you 100%. So it's a huge thaw in relations between China and India. And, you know, if you want to think about, well, India, okay, didn't they just have a problem with Pakistan? And Donald Trump says he's the one that solved it. They were going to go to war, and I stopped it. And if you talk to anybody, at least from India, I don't know about Pakistan, they said, well, Donald Trump never called us. He didn't have anything to do with it. We solved it amongst ourselves. Donald Trump had zero to do with it. But anyway, Donald Trump wants his Nobel Peace Prize. He will get it by hook or by crook. You know, by fair means or foul, he'll lie. He'll do anything to get his Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe in some instances he deserves it. Well, I don't know that he deserves it between Ukraine and Russia, because he's arming Ukraine. And some people, I think it was Douglas McGregor, a lot of people say, well, what has changed between the Biden time and the Trump time? They say nothing. You know, it's a slowdown. It's a slowdown of maybe sending weapons, but Trump is still Trump, you know, I think, what did he say? Obama was sending blankets, and he started sending them javelins. And now it's another escalation. Donald Trump is sending them, well, I'll get to that. It's another topic I have written down here. But let's see. Anyway, what else? Some of the reasons why this might have been backfiring. This thaw between India and China. Modi will be going to Beijing, and it'll be before this victory thing, which will be on the, I guess, 28th. Anyway, Modi will be going to Beijing for the first time in 7 years. And I just said that the U.S. is saying it's to end the war, but it has nothing to do with that. And you know, it's like you'd have to be really, really stupid when you think about stuff. To have a little bit explained to you, and if you still think it has anything to do with the war, you'd have to be incredibly stupid, you know? Because, like I said, all these other people, they're the ones buying the oil from Russia, and the United States is buying uranium, but they're not behind the war. They're not funding the war. Only India is. It's to collapse India. But somebody else, I'll get to that too. There's somebody else has a different view on this. This is really interesting stuff. And I'll tell you what, it's probably a combination of all of these things, what I just told you, and I'll tell you more in a minute. So Trump, it's not about the war. That's one thing. That's what it's not about. Oh, a teeny little bit, you know. There's a financial geopolitical analyst named Tom Luongo. He said it's about ending the EU having their sanctions cake and eating it too. Wow. It's to strangle Europe, to block India from selling oil to the EU. Isn't that incredible? It's probably a part of that too. It's like Donald Trump, he has no affinity towards the EU, obviously. Look at this terrible trade deal he made with Ursula von der Leyen. Whether that's going to matter anything or not, I don't know. Maybe the individual countries are going to be dealing with the United States and not the EU as a bloc. I really don't know. Okay. So anyway, it's more like Trump. It's Trump against everybody. So they say that it's to stop India from selling oil, or let's see, LNG probably, and oil, whatever, to the European Union. So it's to strangle the European Union. It's pretty interesting. And it could be that Donald Trump is trying to collapse them. I don't know. So, and it also obviously then would hurt Russia too. But guess who's going to hurt the most? Oh, the U.S. consumers. So maybe Donald Trump is trying to hurt the American people. Yeah. And what else is it going to do? A lot of people are saying it's going to erode the trust of any kind of foreign countries in the U.S. financial system. So Donald Trump, and I think some other people said that, and it's very obvious. I kind of felt that. Maybe I said that even in other videos, but Donald Trump, he's good. every second or third day. And he even said it, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, he said he's just getting started with tariffs. So it's like everybody's going to be establishing different blocks now and trying to say, well, we don't want anything to do with these people. Look at this crap. So let's sell our stuff to other people, and it's really going to be interesting. Donald Trump, he's probably shooting the United States in the foot big time. Wow. So the BRICS are trading significantly more just in the last weeks amongst themselves. They've been closing a lot of deals. It's really incredible when you start reading about this. And there's been so many, just in the, I think it's the past 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks, maybe 10 days, significantly increased official trips between New Delhi in India, Beijing, and Moscow. There's flights of officials going all over the place, almost daily. And they're hammering out different trade deals and different agreements and making out sort of things. Well, I'll trade this. Do you have this and that? And it's, of course, making deals with the private sector as well. It's absolutely incredible. And also, India is jumping into trade with, it's this bloc. It's called the EAEU, and it has nothing to do with the EU. It's a bloc. It contains Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan. Population of these countries altogether combined is 185 million. And it's a single sort of a market, even the labor market. You can go from, that's why we have a lot of people from Kyrgyzstan, you know, here in Kazakhstan and all that, a lot more in Russia and all. And they can switch back and forth. You can go to work in one country and the other, and you don't have to have any kind of special other permission. It's sort of like the European Union, I guess, where you can go to different countries and work as well. Of course, you have to register whatever this country's little laws are, but you have the right to go and work. Like they have the right to come and work in Belarus, even a lot of these people. Wow. It's a single market. And it accounts for now, I guess lately, in the last year, it used to be 1 trillion something. Now it's 2.6 trillion in US dollars. 2.6 trillion with a T, trillion. Wow. And the trade, very little of it is done in US dollars. And now India is jumping into this block. I don't know if they're going to be like a member of it or they're just going to be trading, and everybody is accepting this and everybody's going along with that. So India is going to be saved. India is probably going to be, when you think about, see, I didn't mention China in that block either, and China is working with India big time too. So it's going to be a huge market. I'll tell you what, India is going to be making, India is going to be selling much more now in the very near future. And we're talking probably in about, I don't know, well, let's see, at the maximum, maybe 2 months, they're going to be doing far more trade than they ever were when they were trading with the United States. And they're going to probably say, well, you just take a hike, United States. We don't really need it. You can take your tariffs and stick them up your tariff hole. Boy. And India has fabulous agriculture, and I know a lot of this stuff too. They do even coffee too. I've had some coffee from them, and it wasn't bad, I know. I don't know if maybe they could do it better. I can't remember for sure. There's a lot of these primitive places that do coffee primitively, some places even in Africa and in Central America, believe it or not. And Brazil is not one of them, by the way. So a lot of places have good coffee. And in America, if you're watching this from the United States, Colombian coffee, you think Colombian coffee is the best because they tell you that, and it's not even true. There's lots of coffee, lots and lots of coffee that are far better than Colombian. There might be some individual holdings inside of Colombia that are very good, and maybe they rank up in the top 50 or the top 100 in the world. Maybe so, I don't really know. But you know, some of the most prized coffee obviously is from Panama. And there's Yirgacheffe in Africa. It's very, very good. And believe it or not, mine was actually a very high rated coffee. I'm not going to say it's up in the top 10%, but I was only doing it for a while, and I didn't even try to promote it. I never sent it to any taste contests or nothing like that, but a lot of prominent people, of course, were drinking the coffee, and somebody wanted me to do a coffee video, and I often think about it. Well, I'm not very good with like putting photos. I have photos and things, and I got to do it at some point in time. I didn't make really many videos, or none practically. We'll see. So anyway, India also has a lot of pharmaceuticals. Matter of fact, we got something during the COVID times that was banned from everywhere. Couldn't get it, and we had it sneaky got it into St. Vincent where we were living. Okay, what else? Oh, another thing. If you're into agriculture, the biggest producer of neem, which is an insecticide in India, and it's a natural insecticide made from crushing the seeds from the neem tree. Very effective, very, very effective in killing insects. You can't spray it in direct sunlight. It's very much like fish oil. There's chrysanthemums and there's hot peppers. There are lots of things you can use, like for natural things, than like insecticides, ovicides, and what is it called? Fungicides. And neem is maybe even the best. A little bit expensive, but it's very, very good. I liked neem. Like I said, any natural insecticides and things, don't spray your crops don't spray it during direct sunlight. So that's all. That's my little tip. That's your tip of the day. Okay. Other economic news. Apparently Russia has discovered one of the biggest oil fields in history in the Arctic, estimated at over 500 billion barrels of oil. I don't know if that's true, because I hadn't heard very much about it. And it'd be interesting if it is. It's somewhere up in the Arctic areas, I believe. It's not under the ice. I guess it's somewhere in the ocean, so it's going to be offshore drilling, what they're going to have to use. I'll tell you what, if that's true, wow. Yeah, anyway. Okay, September 3rd is the big day in China. That's the Victory Day parade. It's going to be massive. It'll be even, you can even put the Russian Victory Day parade probably to shame. And I saw some of the practicing, like of the Chinese women. And the best marching in the world is not the Russians. Russia is very, very good. But the Chinese, what discipline. Watch how straight their backs are. Watch how uniform they are. The Chinese are unbeatable. North Koreans are very good too. I hate to tell you this, people, but the Americans totally, totally suck. They're the worst marching military, probably, well, I don't know, there's probably worse ones. But as far as any big military, the United States, sadly enough, sucks. It really sucks in marching. I got chosen for a lot of the drill and ceremony things. There's two of us, me and a guy from, this guy, Vinny Donnarumma from Detroit. And we got to lay the wreath on, was it veteran? Oh. Anyway, some sort of day at I think it was the Unknown Soldier, was in Heidelberg. And we were chosen to put the wreath on there. And I think it was broadcast on satellite to the United States. You never know, you might have even watched it. And you set the wreath down and then you salute with the other hand, the right hand, not the left. So, anyway. So what else? Who's going to be there? Who's going to be at that parade there? Wow. Putin obviously is going to be there. And there's going to be, believe it or not, Kim Jong-un is going to be there. Wow. And it's going to be the first visit to China in over 6 years. The first one for Kim Jong-un. So they're mending fences too. Now that would be really, really, really something too. If there's not really, I don't really understand what the differences are between North Korea and China, but wow, if they start an alliance, that's incredible, with Russia and of course Belarus. That's really something. Yes, so 26 leaders will be attending. Lukashenko is going to be there. Our president is going to be there. Fico also is going to be there, from Slovakia, and much, much more. But I think those are mostly the ones that you all know. There's going to be some from South America, I believe some from Africa as well. So a lot of the other ones I didn't really know necessarily who they were, but I know those ones I just mentioned to you. Yes, and it's they're celebrating the end of a war, and then you have others in some other place that'll be pushing for more violence. Like Poland and Ukraine, I already mentioned that, didn't I? They're going to be celebrating the terrorist attack. Well, they were celebrating the terrorist attack that bombed the Druzhba pipeline. that, by the way, that energy, that fuel, goes into Slovakia and Hungary, and it provides electricity to Ukraine. So it makes you really wonder, why is Ukraine and Poland celebrating? But that's their own deal, I guess. Here, yeah, the Druzhba. That's the southern branch of the Druzhba. I think the northern one goes, I think, through Belarus. Maybe even in Poland, if I remember properly. Anyway, Israel continues to starve those people, in spite of all the objections from most everybody in the world, except of course the U.S. government. They're very, very much in favor of that. You know, they can very easily look the other way, and there are no kids dying. That's all fake. That's all propaganda. Propaganda from the United Nations, from probably 2,000 people that are there and saw that with their own eyes. They're all just a bunch of liars. Wow. Amnesty International and all Doctors Without Borders and the UN and many, many more, lots of reporters. Oh, they're all liars. They come up with all kinds of lies. Oh, it's not us, it's Hamas. Hamas is getting the aid. And they're taking it and they're selling it. And oh, it's the UN. The UN is blocking the aid. You know, they come up with all kinds of excuses. Oh, but not Israel. No. It's not the settlers breaking open all these containers and destroying all of it, lighting it on fire and, destroying all the aid. It's not them doing that. It's not us leaving it there where they arrive and letting it all rot. It's not us doing that, rot in the hot sun. No, we're not doing that. It's somebody else's fault. Because we are God's chosen people. So anyway, 120 more children died, I guess, recently. Maybe it was in a week or something. And I guess that makes, I don't know, was it 317 people so far? And there's 4 people, I think 4 children died on August 27th, just like 2 days ago. Died of, I don't know, starvation or malnutrition, I guess is what they say. And then Israel has been bombing Yemen's capital for the past couple of days. Yesterday, several strikes, and of course in the capital, Sana'a, I guess, and al-Houthi, the leader of the Houthi, of the Ansar Allah movement, he was giving a speech when they bombed the capital. And I guess Israel has put out on their news channels on television that the target is the upper brass. It's just like when they were killing the Hezbollah, one leader after the next, and whoever, and they were trying to kill. That's what they do. I guess maybe the theory is cut off the head of the snake or something like that. So and then somebody comes in. It's kind of dangerous. You never know. And there was another thing. Israel has said that if Hamas surrenders, that they will let Gazans emigrate. They will let the Gazans leave. In other words, they're not letting them leave right now, and they're waiting until Hamas surrenders, and then they'll let these people leave. Well, what if a lot of them, they don't want to leave? This is a kind of a strange situation. You got to listen to this here. So they'll let them immigrate. But when Hamas surrenders, Israel says, this is even in the same little context, in the same paragraph, Israel will take full control of Gaza City and of Gaza, of course. But they will let them emigrate. They will let them leave. In other words, that's called ethnic cleansing, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. And if they don't, if Hamas doesn't comply, they won't let them leave, and they will stop the humanitarian aid from going into Gaza. But they've already stopped that, is one thing. And as a matter of fact, after that was said, on the very next day, as a matter of fact, I think not even a day later, they had stopped the humanitarian aid from going in, at least to Gaza City. So there isn't. They have to surrender, and they will let them immigrate. So it's basically, there is no win. There's no win situation for those that are in Gaza City. It's like, you will lose. You will lose, but you decide on how you lose. Are you going to die of starvation? Are we going to kill you? Or are you just going to run out and maybe find somebody nice enough to give you a tent and some food and water, because you don't get any water now. We're making sure you don't get any. Boy, what a bunch of nice guys. But Israel is a bunch of, that's God's chosen people. That's what God's chosen people does, I guess, people. Terrible. Isn't that incredible? This guy's name was Smotrich. I'm not even sure. He wears this little, his little beanie thing on the top there, saying how great they are. They know how superior are. It's the master race. Wow. So if Hamas surrenders, you all have to leave while we take over. If Hamas does not surrender, we'll continue to bomb and kill all of you. Wow. So in the next weeks here, and I guess it's in about 2 weeks, when Donald Trump's extended range attack munition missiles, it's called the ERAMs, extended range attack munition missiles, will arrive to Ukraine to be used on the Russians, primarily on Russian civilians, to kill Russian civilians. But Donald Trump, as you know, he wants to stop the killing. So that's why he's sending them missiles. 3,350 missiles. Now, they're not all going to arrive right away. It's going to probably take at least the course of 1 year to make that many missiles. But it's jobs. It's jobs for America. And he wants to stop the killing, so he's going to kill. So he can stop the killing by killing everybody. So let's kill them all first, so then I can stop the killing. So we don't need to kill anymore, because we'll kill everybody. Jeez. I guess that's his logic. I don't know. Oh, and Trump, he's upset with Putin. Oh, he's upset with Zelensky. Oh, Putin bombed something again. Well, yes, isn't that what you do in a war? So Putin's supposed to stop. Oh, just because I talked to Donald Trump, so I'm not going to be doing. So the war is over. It's already. It says, wait a minute, but a ceasefire is not going to. But it's like it's not a cease. It's not. We don't want to do a cease, but it's a cease, because I have to stop bombing because Donald Trump will get angry if I don't. So anyway, like Donald Trump, as you all know, he's also flooding Israel with weapons to kill all of these children and stuff. But he wants to stop the killing. I don't know. I tell you, is there something wrong with this picture? It really bothers me to actually find something I like about Trump. I don't know. It's really terrible. And I don't want to dislike Trump. And I don't want something like that. But anyway, that's how that's going. Okay. So Israel, they can continue to bomb not only Gaza, but the Syrians, the Lebanese, and the Yemenites. And whoever they damn well please, as the United States ambassador to Israel says. They're going to bomb anyone they feel like it, when they want to, and how badly. Look at this. You're the proud owner of a brand new couch, lady. Oh, look at this. One section at a time. Oh, a happy customer over there. Anyway, another part of this is I have to let you guys know that in part this is financed by the United States. As a matter of fact, these bombs, obviously, a lot of this is going to Ukraine, and don't believe it, that, oh, Europe is paying for them. I guess what? The United States does pay part of that. So it is part of the taxpayers' money of the United States. They're just kind of slowly sinking it in on all of you guys. Okay, now let's have some fun facts. I guess fun facts just for July alone, because that was a big month. Fun fact, 17,544 desertions from the Ukraine military in just July. And normally, the normal amounts that actually desert from Ukraine is 400 every day. And usually it's in a month, I guess that's 12,000. 12,000 deserters a month is the normal amount. But this one was 17,000 in July. That was last month. Woo! Boy, oh boy. And there's a lot of videos out. A lot of these Ukrainians are filming themselves. They're going across the border. I guess they changed some sort of thing. Huge lines. It looks just like the Belarusian, Lithuanian, Latvian border, where you're waiting for many hours. And sometimes you're waiting for a whole day. If you're a truck, for example, if you were a truck, when we got our furniture, because we had a container sent from St. Vincent and the Grenadines to here. It took 2 weeks for our container standing in line to get into Belarus from from Klaipėda, so that would have been Latvia. So it was coming from Latvia, and it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks at the border. Wow. Okay. thousands of Venezuelans are preparing for a U.S. attack. There's like film footage of them, and there are a lot of drill and ceremony, and of course a lot of them are doing jungle warfare and getting ready. Some of them, new people, have joined up, and they're gonna have a lot of people, and it looks like they really are getting ready, and they're getting themselves ready mentally too. And a lot of them do believe that the most genocidal regime in history is the United States, is what they're saying. And maybe they're right, I don't know. But when you look at what they're doing to Israel, and I guess not Hugo Chavez, Maduro. Oh, look at that British. She wonder if it came from Ukraine. British. Здравствуйте. Großbritannien. Oh, ja, ist nett Großbritannien, ja, США. США и Германия. Yeah. So. Раньше я из американский military. Oh, looks like a brand new field jacket. Look at there. From the old days. BDU, battle dress uniform. Oh, look at this, an airman, first class, United States, I think. I don't know what that rank is. Interesting. Anyway, maybe they don't take kindly to that. Nobody's saying anything. So let's keep going. I'm almost done here. Venezuela. Although there is zero evidence that Maduro has anything to do with any drug trade, that's the pretext that the United States is using to get Venezuela's resources. I guess, I think at least in the Americas, they're like the second most amount of oil. And many people have put them, and I said it myself, that they're one of the most resource-rich nations on the planet is Venezuela. They've got gold, and they've got jewels, and they have got oil. They've got fishing, they got tourism, they got lumber, huge amounts of lumber in the forests and things. They got, like, I'm telling you, they got like a Purple Heart, and they don't have teak, but they got Purple Heart, and what else is famous down there? I know Purple Heart. They got other, woods and things like that down there too. Everybody's closing up. It's getting late. I guess I got to get out of here. So, zero evidence of that. It's not to say that there is no drug dealers in there, but it makes you wonder, why don't they invade Mexico? Because they know for a fact that lots of it's coming. They were planning on doing that, but I guess, maybe they're not going to do that. Maybe that's just a head fake. Oh, Mexico. And instead we're going to get Venezuela because they've got more oil. We can't justify taking over Mexico, but we can justify, and we can, because it's far from the eyes of the American people, and we'll slaughter a lot of those people down there. But I guess they say Venezuela is a pretty good sized country. It's pretty big, and there's a lot of jungle out there, so good luck on that one. Oil, gold, precious jewels, everything. And because they have those things, they're gonna have to pay. Damn them. How do they have to get that oil and stuff like that? It's our oil underneath their ground. So, but I think there's actually, Venezuela, I guess, has taken over part of Guyana. In Guyana, there's been a huge find offshore in Guyana, and Guyana's got a lot of oil now. That is one of the biggest emerging markets for oil in the world, is in Guyana. And Venezuela claimed a part. There was some kind of disputed area. It's a big portion of Guyana, and I think Venezuela has claimed it. Unfortunately, I don't like to see the disputes, but I don't know. It's not a good thing. I'm not up on it so much anymore. You guys can look that up if you want to. But then again, of course, they say Haiti. Haiti, I think it was back in 2007 or whatever, they found huge amounts of oil in Haiti. Gosh, look at this. It's almost like my backpack. I don't know, maybe it is. Okay, what else? Haiti. And it's right under Port-au-Prince. I've mentioned that in other videos, though. And that's one reason why after that earthquake, the United States was in there lickety-split. They were in there faster than any disaster in the United States. And they were there, buddy. They kicked Venezuela out immediately. Venezuela was there trying to give a helping hand. The United States ran them out. I wonder why. Okay. Now, what else do we have here? Let's see. Harari. The top, this is the last story, by the way. Harari, the top World Economic Forum advisor under Klaus Schwab. We will penetrate the cabinets. Yes, we will penetrate your cabinets. And he has said that the goal, you know, they come out with the Great Reset and, you know, the COVID thing and using all of that, they're heavily into that and controlling everything. Well, the whole goal is control, as you guys all know. Get that as a canteen from someplace, I don't know where. Huh, interesting stuff. Huh. And some fishing things. A lot of fishing in Belarus. So anyway, but the whole thing is to monetize every aspect of everyone's lives. Your work, your friendships, family visits, your trash, and what you do with your trash, where you throw it, what you do with it, and what is in your trash, for example. That's a big one for the CIA. They go through garbage cans and things like that. A lot of intelligence do. That's find out a lot by going through people's garbage. And based on all of this kind of thing, they give you some kind of a credit score. So, you know, I don't know, you maybe get some positive points, you get some negative points. Maybe if the positive points, you get some good positive points, they leave you alone. If you got some negative points, then you got to pay some money. You know? But don't worry, drones will be delivering everything to you. It's just like, well, who's making all this stuff? You're going to be sitting in your home and just sit around there and things are going to be delivered to you? I don't think so. Oh. Okay, you get a score. So let's see. Harari says it will be the most totalitarian system in history. And they'll be using AI. A lot of AI. So this whole world is going to be based on surveillance and compliance. That's what they said they have the technology to do it all now. You know, not only the computer chips in the brains, like Klaus Schwab was even talking about that. You even hear Elon Musk, he's all excited about it. You know, and of course there can be some good things about that as well. You can maybe solve some problems, but I'll tell you what, it makes you really wonder, maybe you just want to opt out and not get any the computer chips in the brains. They want to put some kind of computer chips in people that has a tiny little, teeny little, like a micro drop of some sort of poisons, and they can decide to release it into your system, and maybe within a short period of time you die, or maybe you die instantly. You never know. It's your choice, I guess. See, there is free choice in the world. Anyhow, that's all I got to put out for today, you guys. And thanks for joining me. And I will see you on the next one, whenever that's going to be. Bye-bye.